So Huawei launched the Mate 30 Pro at an event in Munich, Germany today. It's no exaggeration to say the new flagship could be the year's best Android phone, but geopolitics has thrown a major spanner in the works. As excellent as this phone appears to be, it's overshadowed by current tensions between the US and China, which, to cut a long story very short, means they have no Google apps preloaded. There could be unofficial workarounds for this in the future, but for now, the situation is far from ideal. For a moment though, let's take a step back and examine the Mate 30 Pro as we would any other smartphone. Depending on your perspective, the first thing you'll notice about this freshly minted Huawei flagship will either be its monstrously huge rear camera module or its unconventional screen shape. The former sees Huawei fully leaning into the camera as a focal point for the chassis design, with a larger circular lens area that's reminiscent of the old Nokia Lumia 1020, surrounded by a textured circular frame. The latter reveals Huawei's first phone with a waterfall display, so named because the display curves almost to the midway point of the outer wall. As a consequence of this, there's only one physical button on the side, that's the power key. To change the volume, you can use gestures, just double tap on either screen edge and drag up or down. And yes, this does make the new Pro model feel a tad slippery in the hand. The back panel though is absolutely gorgeous. You've got a bunch of glass colours to choose from, including a really unique gradiented option that goes from matte to glossy. Plus there's a new vegan leather Mate 30 Pro, which brings a striking new texture to the phone's rear panel and has more of a vintage camera vibe to it. Physically, this is a pretty lanky handset, with an 18.4:9 aspect ratio and a 6.53-inch screen diagonal, putting it close to the overall size of the P30 Pro. Up at the top of the waterfall display is a fairly wide notch to accommodate the Mate's 3D face unlock system, as well as the 32-megapixel selfie camera and depth sensing module. It's smaller than the Mate 20 Pros, but some will undoubtedly see it as an eyesore next to the many Android phones with smaller notches, or no notch at all. Here's hoping that 3D face unlock system is worth the trade-off. Like the P30 Pro, the Mate also uses Huawei's in-display speaker system, which uses the vibration of the panel for call audio, so there's no earpiece hole here. And once again, there's also in-screen fingerprint, which is promised to be a further upgrade from what we saw in the P30 Pro. The Mate line has always been about showcasing new technology from Huawei, and as such it's the first to come powered by the new Kirin 990 chipset, boasting better power efficiency, a ramped up CPU, AI and graphical capabilities, and in some models even onboard 5G. There are also marked improvements in photo and video noise reduction, which works hand in hand with the new quad rear camera system. The new camera system combines dual 40-megapixel cameras, one ultra-wide, Huawei's so-called Cine camera behind an f1.8 lens, another standard behind an f1.6 lens. Both are considerably larger than what you'll find on most other smartphones. And meanwhile there's an 8-megapixel f2.4 3x telephoto camera, which lines up on paper with the telephoto camera of last year's Mate 20 Pro. You'll get an easy 5x hybrid zoom or digital zoom all the way up to 30 times. Finally, you've got that fourth camera there for 3D depth sensing. The larger sensor size for the two main cameras means the Mate 30 Pro stands a good chance of being the new ultra-wide king, especially when it's paired with the phone's night mode. There's AI stabilization for video, of course, but smooth cinematic video isn't the only focus here. Ultra slow motion is supported not only at 960 FPS like other major phones, but up to 7680 FPS thanks to some clever AI interpolation. Another major strength of Huawei phones historically has been the brand's battery capacity and longevity. As such, the Mate 30 Pro enjoys a bump up to a 4500 mAh cell, or 4200 mAh for the smaller Mate 30. It's a pretty big bump even from the P30 Pro, which offered amazing battery life. And meanwhile, Huawei's 40-watt supercharging technology returns for quick refills, now paired with 27-watt fast wireless charging and improvements to the speed of the reverse wireless charging feature. So yes, as in previous years, there's another member of the Mate 30 family to consider. The standard Mate 30 is flatter, bigger, and has a smaller battery, while also lacking the Pro's impressive cinematic ultra-wide sensor. The overall downgrades are fewer than in previous years, but the standard Mate is a less spectacular handset. And at the other end of the spectrum, we once again have a Porsche design variant, the Porsche design Huawei Mate 30 RS, which takes the form factor of the Mate 30 Pro and transforms it into a leather-clad beast either in red or black, along with, let's be honest, some pretty garish looking software. And speaking of software, Huawei's EMUI 10 makes its public debut on the Mate 30 series with a familiar feature set and design language that we've seen from the beta release a few weeks back. Additions like the new dark mode and color palette are very welcome, and now they're joined by impressive Mate 30 exclusives like a redesigned always-on display, and even an AI-assisted screen rotation feature that allows the phone to follow the orientation of your face, even if the phone itself isn't moving. The gigantic 8-ton elephant in the room, however, is the lack of preloaded Google services and apps on these devices, thanks to Huawei's place on the US's Entity List. Barring any immediate resolution to Huawei's current woes with the US government, if you buy a Mate 30, then officially you're going to be dealing with Huawei's own App Gallery storefront, which you can see here on this Chinese variant of the Mate 30. And for now, that's going to be a serious barrier to entry, even if, as we expect, there's going to be an unofficial workaround to get Google services up and running on the phone. In any other year, perhaps against a different political background, the Mate 30 Pro would unquestionably be one of the best smartphones you could buy, but the lack of Google support muddies things considerably, and we're going to have to wait for our full review before we can even approach some sort of verdict here. That's it for now. Stay tuned and subscribe for the first part of our Mate 30 Pro review coming soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.